Cousins is one of the most debated quarterbacks in the NFL. Some see him as a steady, reliable quarterback who consistently puts up solid numbers. Others argue those numbers don't mean much when he struggles in big moments. Despite his talent, the question remains, why hasn't he been able to shake off the label of being just an average quarterback? Is it bad luck, or is he simply not as good as the numbers suggest? Well, in today's video, we'll dive deep into Cousins' career to find out if he's truly overrated or just misunderstood. When you analyze his career stats, they tell an interesting story. One that looks impressive on paper, but raises questions when you dig deeper. Over his career, Cousins has consistently put up strong numbers, regularly throwing for over 4,000 yards per season with a completion percentage hovering around 66 to 68%. He's racked up touchdowns at a steady pace, averaging around 30 per season while keeping interceptions relatively low. These numbers suggest a quarterback who's accurate, productive, and efficient. But stats alone don't always paint the full picture, and with Cousins, the story is more complicated. One of the biggest criticisms against Cousins is his performance when it matters most. His primetime record has been a glaring weakness, with a well-documented struggle to win on national stages. Despite respectable regular season stats, his postseason record stands at just 1-3, with performances that often leave fans and analysts questioning whether he has what it takes to lead a team deep into the playoffs. His lone playoff victory, a 2019 wildcard win against the Saints, was a bright spot, but it hasn't been enough to erase years of frustration from fans who expect more. Looking beyond the basic stats, advanced metrics provide a clearer view of Cousins' strengths and weaknesses. His quarterback rating typically falls in the mid-60s to low 70s range, ranking him somewhere between the top 10 and 15 quarterbacks in the league. Efficiency ratings, such as passer rating, often reflect well on him, showing that he makes smart decisions and doesn't take too many risks. However, when you compare his numbers to those of elite quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow, the gap becomes clear. While those quarterbacks have a knack for elevating their teams in crucial moments, Cousins often struggles to rise above the competition when it matters most. What separates him from the elite tier is his inability to consistently take over games. He's a quarterback who can thrive in the right system with a strong supporting cast, but when things start to break down, whether it's the offensive line, injuries, or a tough schedule, he rarely has the ability to carry his team to victory.
Cousins on the move, throws high.
That's why, despite his solid numbers, he continues to be labeled as a good but not great quarterback. The stats may look nice, but they don't tell the whole story. Now, before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell as we go ahead with the video. Some quarterbacks have what fans like to call the clutch gene, an ability to rise to the occasion and deliver in must-win situations. Cousins, on the other hand, has built a reputation for doing the exact opposite. Whether it's a primetime showdown, a win-and-in playoff scenario, or a key divisional matchup, he's often found himself on the wrong side of history. When the pressure mounts, he tightens up, struggling to make the plays that separate good quarterbacks from great ones. There have been moments when he has come through, like his iconic "You like that" game in 2015 when he led Washington to a massive comeback win against the Buccaneers. Or his overtime playoff win against the Saints in 2019, where he threw a perfect game-winning pass to Kyle Rudolph in the end zone.
Cousins throws, pass is caught for the win.
Those moments gave fans hope that he might have turned a corner. But for every moment of brilliance, there are far too many high-profile failures. In games where his team needed him the most, Monday Night Football, key playoff matchups, or division-deciding games, he's often been outplayed or made costly mistakes. One of the most frustrating examples came in the 2022 wildcard round against the New York Giants. Down by a touchdown with the season on the line, he threw a check-down pass well short of the first down marker, effectively ending the Vikings' playoff run. It was the kind of moment that defined his career. Safe, conservative, and ultimately not enough. The media and the fans were quick to jump on him, with memes flooding social media and many labeling him as a quarterback who simply can't handle high-pressure situations. This inconsistency is why Cousins' career has been filled with conflicting narratives. On one hand, his defenders argue that he's put up elite numbers and has dealt with shaky defenses, coaching changes, and poor offensive line play. On the other hand, his critics point to his 12-20 record in primetime games and his struggles against winning teams as proof that he lacks the killer instinct that elite quarterbacks possess. For every "you like that" moment, there's a "you blew that" headline waiting to overshadow it. And until Cousins can string together consistent clutch performances, the debate will never truly end. So, is he worth it? Kirk Cousins has made a lot of money in the NFL, more than most quarterbacks in league history. From his early days in Washington to his high-profile contracts with Minnesota and now Atlanta, he's mastered the business side of football. But the real question is, has he been worth it? You see, when Washington placed a franchise tag on him twice, they were essentially paying top dollar without fully committing long-term. In Minnesota, the Vikings didn't hesitate. They handed him a fully guaranteed 3-year, $84 million contract in 2018, making him the highest-paid quarterback at the time. That deal was followed by extensions, pushing his total earnings with the Vikings past $200 million. And now, with Atlanta, he's signed another hefty 4-year deal worth $180 million, which was not well received by everybody.
But what the Falcons paid Kirk Cousins, they could have got Cam Newton, Justin Fields, and Michael Vick.
That's a lot of money for a quarterback who's yet to prove he can consistently win when it matters most. The problem with Cousins' contracts isn't just the price tag, it's what those massive deals do to a team's ability to build around him. When a quarterback takes up such a large chunk of the salary cap, it forces tough decisions elsewhere. Teams have to cut corners, often sacrificing depth on defense or missing out on key free agents. In Minnesota, for example, the team struggled to maintain a strong supporting cast, particularly on the offensive line and defense. While Cousins put up solid numbers, the Vikings found themselves stuck in mediocrity. Good enough to make the playoffs occasionally, but never quite a true contender. From a return on investment standpoint, the numbers don't add up. Minnesota paid him over $200 million, and in return they got just one playoff win in 6 years. That's not exactly the kind of return franchises expect when they shell out top-tier quarterback money. Fans expected deep playoff runs, but instead they got early exits and inconsistency. Atlanta is now facing the same challenge, betting big on Cousins with the hope that he can finally elevate the team beyond expectations. But with his track record, it's a risky gamble. So far, Kirk Cousins' 2024 season with the Atlanta Falcons has been anything but smooth. After signing a massive contract to be the team's franchise quarterback, expectations were high. But so far, things haven't gone as planned. The Falcons have struggled to find consistency on offense, and much of that blame has landed squarely on Cousins' shoulders. While his numbers aren't terrible, they don't tell the full story. His completion percentage has dipped, turnovers have become more frequent, and his inability to push the ball downfield has made the offense look stagnant. Atlanta brought him in to provide veteran leadership and stability, but instead, they found themselves questioning whether they made the right investment. A major factor contributing to his struggles is his recovery from a torn Achilles, an injury he suffered in 2023. Achilles injuries are notoriously tough for quarterbacks, especially ones like Cousins, who rely more on precision and timing than raw athleticism. While he's back on the field, his mobility has clearly taken a hit. Moving around the pocket, avoiding pressure, and extending plays, things that were already not his strong suit, have now become even bigger challenges. Defenses have picked up on this, bringing relentless pressure and forcing him into quick, often ineffective decisions. It's fair to wonder whether he'll ever regain the same level of comfort in the pocket that he once had. Looking ahead, his future in the NFL is uncertain. He's already been benched by the Atlanta Falcons, a move that came after a series of struggles, including 9 interceptions and only 1 touchdown in his last 5 games. The team has turned to rookie quarterback Michael Penix Jr., signaling a potential shift toward the future. At 36 years old and coming off an Achilles injury, Cousins' mobility and ability to extend plays have visibly declined. While he has accepted the benching, he has stated that he still sees himself as a starting quarterback. However, with Atlanta moving in a different direction, his future with the team remains uncertain. If he doesn't get another starting opportunity, the possibility of transitioning into a backup role becomes more realistic. However, Cousins has historically resisted such a role, and it remains to be seen whether he would embrace it. A bounce back remains unlikely at this point, as the Falcons have already made their decision. Unless other circumstances force a change, it appears his time in Atlanta is over. Also, whether another team will take a chance on him remains to be seen. Anyway, what's your take on Kirk Cousins? Is he an underrated quarterback who just needs the right situation, or is he exactly what the critics say? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.